Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix and this is Sim. $6.39, it's 20% off during its promotional period for the first week. Came out today on Steam. It's a puzzle platforming game that attempts to dive into a tough topic. A topic that not everybody will get and understand. And it's talking about social anxiety disorder. Now, more games lately have been trying to hit harder topics. Things like Depression Quest hitting the idea of depression. And the problem with it is, in that case, in Depression Quest's case, is that the variety of depression and the variety of things that depression is caused by and is experienced by is going to be very unique to the person that's involved. To an extent, social anxiety disorder, from my understanding, is a little bit more compact in terms of the variety that you can see out of it, but it's going to be very much a very case-by-case basis of whether or not you're able to relate to the concepts in which this game is trying to present. This is not a game you're going to play for the idea of, a platforming masterpiece, a platformer where you precision is rewarded. This is very much a experience where you're supposed to experience the game and the message that it's trying to portray. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's play one of the videos here, I Want to Disappear. Now, you are this person in this world. In the store page, it does name this person, and they do name the person in the game, but in my eyes, the name doesn't make a difference. It's a matter of you're supposed to sort of put yourself into this person's shoes. And I think it would have been better if it didn't mention a name whatsoever. It's sort of this blob in which you can sort of throw yourself into it. I think it would have been very interesting to explore that. But nevertheless, the person is named. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But we're going to play some levels here. Now, the main mechanic and the main idea here is that you are in this world. And this is the regular part of the world. This is the sort of real world here. But when you need to escape from the banes of society and from the fears of society, you can go into your own world. And in your own world, you can move around too. The idea here is that you go back between worlds and try to get through these platforming sections over and over again. Now, I'm going to play through the I Want to Disappear levels. I think it's a good representation of the levels in question. And show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's go over the first one. So in the real world, there are going to be fears in which you are going to run into that may devour you, like these seeds. There's representations of exactly what those seeds are, like what could they mean in terms of the social anxiety disorder. But if I escape to the real world or the alternate world, those seeds don't hurt me. The idea here is that maybe the seeds represent, people. Maybe they represent people who are vicious. Maybe that they'll devour you at any second. They'll take advantage of you. Or they will just rip you apart. There's symbolism there. And in my mind, the symbolism in general works. Now, again, that's going to be very much based on your own experiences and the people that you are related to. People that you know. So it's very hard to judge a game when it's very much uniquely based on who is experiencing it. Now, I can still, though, critique the game on its mechanics. And the mechanics here are ho-hum. Now, the idea of flipping between worlds has been done before, and this one does it relatively well. There are some clever puzzles, and the puzzle aspect is probably the strongest element of this game in terms of trying to figure out how to get through without, dying at this point. Now, you notice there that I knew how to move right. There are some cases where it's going to have some repetitive gameplay in terms of you'll end up redoing sections because of just not knowing what's coming up and then all of a sudden dying. That I have less problems with. The problems I have with the game are more so precision. There is no controller support, and they don't say they have controller support, but sometimes it feels like the precision that it wants from you is strong. In fact, it's almost unattainable at times. You'll end up doing sections over and over again. Now, I'm failing here. I shouldn't be failing on this one. This one's pretty easy, but apparently me talking is causing myself some issues here. But you'll get to sections where the difficulty spikes, and you'll just be sitting there going, how the hell was I supposed to get through that without dying like 20 times? Now, again, it comes into the question of whether or not that was purposeful. The fact of the matter is, in social anxiety disorder, life isn't fair, and you'll have to deal with things that, you know, you will fail with. Whether or not that's good is a different story. God damn it, I did this again. One of the things that I don't like about this game is that I don't have a way of... Well, apparently I do. Apparently back means back in terms of going back to the real world. I didn't think I actually had a way of removing myself and exiting a level. I was wrong. Back is probably not the word you wanted to use there, though. So, again, now, like, this is a good example. Like, I could go here and try to precision jump on all these platforms, but it's easier for me to just do that. Escape to my own world. Is that healthy? That's a sort of a concept behind it. Should I have to escape to that world in order to get over something that's tough? Again, a very much an emotional and a sort of psychological take on things. And it's interesting that the game went the route that they did. It's, again, very much based on the experience. I'm going to keep on saying that, I know, but it's very much based off of who you are as a person and what you're going to take from it. Now, for those who don't know, I have been diagnosed with ADD, and I've been at one point diagnosed with OCD. So there's also a general anxiety that I've had to deal with. I go to a therapist just because of the issues that I deal with. I have issues with control. Again, that's partly the reason I left my software engineering job. But so I'm able to relate to some of these issues in terms of social anxiety disorder, specifically the anxiety part. Now, you'll notice those symbols there. Like, at first, you aren't taught anything about those symbols, sort of, kind of. But basically, like, with that symbol, it shows you which direction it's going to build in. So you see it's building up and outward. And, like, certain ones will have certain symbols in which it will show you how the path is going to go. Now, like this one's interesting because it's actually wanting you to do something specific. So, there we go. I don't think I wanted to do that, actually. See how it's building up at this point? So I actually going to want to do that. And then that. And then, there we go. There we go. There is going to be some puzzle platforming portions of it, and oh dang it, I was a little bit further over than I needed to be, and I actually built on top of me, and therefore I died. I think the last one is the one level that I want to show you. No, this isn't it. Let me see if I can find that level in question, because there was a level in particular that it was a good example of where the platforming went wrong, and off the top of my head I'm having trouble remembering where that level was. I think... No, it wasn't that one. Definitely wasn't that one. Up we go. So, it's a really weird situation with this game. It's hard for me to recommend. It's hard for me to just sit here and go, yeah, this game is going to be for you. When in fact, it's going to be a game that's not going to necessarily be for everyone. This is actually a good example. So the precision that you need at times on these jumps is reasonable. I mean, the fact of the matter is, you'll have some precision in your platforming, and in particular, it seems like, especially with those blades, if you come anywhere near close, you'll have a problem. If you go off screen, it'll sort of block you, and you'll have a problem. So, like, you saw that jump there. See? Notice how I'm getting stuck? Which is a little bit weird. It really doesn't play well into the control scheme. And there we go. Perfect. So can I recommend this game? I don't know. This is one of those games in which it is very hard for me to recommend. The reason being in the fact that it's not because the game is bad. It's because the game is going to hit a niche. And the niche in particular is very hard to identify because of the way that it presents itself. It's not going to be something simple where it's just like, okay, those people who like platformers are going to like this game. No, it's going to be people who are able to relate to the concepts that are being presented. And honestly, beyond that, it's hard for me to really give you guys anything more than that. I myself liked the themes that it was hitting. Do I think it's necessarily worth $6.39 in order to hit it? I think it's going to be very based on whether or not you are affected by it or a loved one is affected by it. Especially with parts like this, you see the precision that you need in terms of jumping. And in particular, it can get annoying and frustrating. But overall, if you're affected by social anxiety disorder, if you all know somebody who's affected by social anxiety disorder and have maybe a little bit of a problem understanding what they're going through, this game may help in terms of understanding some of the concepts behind it in a way that can be presented in a different way. And I know that's going to be hard for some people out there to understand, especially those people who are looking for gameplay and more, fun games out of the channel. But I do like taking challenges like this in terms of understanding what a game can do in terms of social commentary, and social commentary in terms of a game doesn't necessarily always have to be 100% fun. It can hit more complicated objects. Obviously, you don't necessarily have to be socially conscious in order to be a good game. But games like this ends up adding variety to the industry, and I think it's helpful. It's hard. I mean, again, I'm sitting here trying to understand to myself, too, whether or not it's worth the price of admission. And even going into this, I sat there with a big note on this note card right here saying, I don't know. And it's very hard to sit there and go, yeah, I think it's for these people. But it does do some good things good in terms of symbolism. It does do things good in terms of presentation. I do like the black and white aesthetic. The music does do some good job in terms of, just sort of providing a good background for a situation like this. And honestly, it's one of those games in which I will remember. And I think that's a key part of it. I will remember because of the experience I had with it. Now, that's not going to be the same for everyone, like I've said 100 times during this video before, but it's going to be a game where it has left an impression on me, and I think because of that, if you are questioning whether or not to get it, and you're asking for a yay or nay from me, I would have to say, yeah, it's a yay if you really want to explore it. If you really want to explore the ideas, because it's left an impression on me. Now, will it leave an impression on you? I can't guarantee that. Alright, this is Dragnix signing out. I know this is going to be a sort of a weird video from me because of the sort of back and forth nature I've had on it, but there are games that come along where it's just you're sitting there going, I have no idea. I really don't. Alright, I will see you all later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have a chance, leave some feedback and comments below. If you liked the video, hit that like button. And if you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button. This is Dragnix signing off, hoping that gaming brings as much fun to you as it does for me.